So I really don't like to rig out my camera very often. I prefer my camera to be as light and nimble as possible, but if I'm being honest, that's really not always practical. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how I take my plain S5IIX and turn it into this really functional for video camera rig, yet while still remaining somewhat compact. Now this video is sponsored by SmallRig, and they have some pretty cool, dare I say, even exciting new batteries. So I'll be sure to show them off throughout this video as we talk about this rig. So let's go ahead and start with the heart of this rig, which is my Lumix S5IIX. Now, this is probably my favorite camera that has come out in recent years. The open gate 6K is really what shines on this camera. Not only is it great just for reframing and post-production, but I've been loving it when I shoot with anamorphic lenses. Being able to shoot in 6K open gate means that I get a lot more information on the top and bottom of my image when shooting with those Blaze Arcados, for example. So that's really exciting. Now, also the color science on this camera is probably my favorite right now. I think it does rival Canon in a lot of ways. It's just very clean and you can really play with it any which way you want to. And also, again, it is good for photography, but that doesn't really make sense for this video, so I'm not gonna touch on it. So let's go ahead and break down everything that makes this rig work. Now, I do have a slew of different parts on here. Some of them are Condor Blue, some of them are SmallRig, and I'll break those down as we go, starting with the Condor Blue cage. Now, this cage is really great for one particular reason. It has a lot of different points of contact. So it screws in here through the bottom, and then you have two other points of contacts at the camera strap rings. The downside of this is that once it's all hooked up, you have to completely disassemble the cage if you want to take the camera out of the rig. So it has some positives in the sense that the camera is going to be locked in there. It's not going to be jiggling around, but the downside is you really want to make sure that you want it rigged up if you're going to put it in here, because it's a pain to take out. Moving up the rig, we have this SmallRig top handle. Now, this is a really old SmallRig top handle. It's actually my buddy Zach Mayfield's, but it's actually kind of nice. I like how chunky and grippy it is. Plus, there's tons of mounting points if you want to mount anything to this, but I do like this SmallRig top handle. And then that has on it as well this Atomos Ninja 5. Now, we didn't mount it to the top of the handle. This is just for balancing. We have it mounted lower down. This is going to keep the center of gravity closer to the camera itself, which just makes it easier to wield. Now, powering the Atomos Ninja 5 is this SmallRig NPF battery. This is one of their new SmallRig NPF batteries, and this thing is honestly pretty cool. So not only is it just a Sony mount battery, but it also has a USB-C port on the top here, and then it has a USB-A port as well. And you can use this to charge the battery itself or charge other things. For example, my iPhone is dying, and if I need to, I could plug it into here and charge it up. Additionally, if you want to see the power, you just tap on this little circle here, and it's going to show you the battery power remaining on the battery. So as far as NPF batteries go, this one is pretty savvy. Now, I could have powered the Atomos Ninja 5 using the V-mount battery, but for me personally, I like to have less cables on my rig, so I went ahead and powered it with this Sony NPF battery instead. Now, SmallRig actually sent me out their two other colors that they're offering as well. Personally, I love the green one. That's why it's on the rig and not these two, and I still have the plastic tabs on these because I haven't used these yet, but they do offer this bright neon orange and then classic black as well. Now on this side, I do have my HDMI cable, which funnels through a Mondo tie, and that goes into the S5IIX. This is just a little bit of cable management. I don't know if I necessarily need it. I don't know, I prefer that the cable doesn't get snagged on other extra things, so it's nice to have it. Now for my side grip, I have a Condor Blue handle, and that is on a little rosette so that I can adjust it as I need it. Typically this would be down lower, so your thumb actually would hit it, but I have the wrong one. If I wanted this mounted on the other side of my camera, this would have been perfect, but I wanted it on the left-hand side, so this is what I'm working with. When you actually power on the S5IIX, you can put it into this other screen mode, which basically shows you all the information that you would need to without having to see the picture, because we are running an Atomos screen, so you don't need to see all that information on that screen, which is really cool. Dave's actually behind the camera. He's the one who pointed this out. I was not doing this. I just had a redundant image on the side. This is actually pretty clever. I like that the S5IIX can do that. Now at the bottom of the rig, we have a SmallRig base plate as well as SmallRig carbon fiber rails, which does keep the weight of this whole thing a little bit lighter. And then that leads into a Condor Blue V-mount plate. This V-mount plate's actually pretty cool. It has a ton of different ports for whatever it is you need to do, which is pretty nice. It's not just a dummy plate. However, if you don't have a V-mount plate with all these fancy ports, you could just use this really awesome Caleb Pike 212 V-mount battery. This thing is honestly pretty cool, if I can say cool, when it comes to a battery. It has all the ports that you could possibly need to power all your accessories. You have a D-tap on each side, so 2 total D-taps, and then on the top you have 2 USB-Cs, 1 USB-A, and then 2 AC ports as well. What's really cool is that you can actually charge this battery over these USB-C ports, and it charges pretty dang fast. Now, another cool thing about this battery is that you do have a power indication screen here on the back. You can tap on the side to turn it on if it's not plugged into something. It'll also show you with all the different ports. So right here, you can see that it's drawing power from the battery. And then if I were to plug into the USB-C cables, it would show me how much power is being drawn from everything. So just a nice feature on a battery. I know it's a V-mount, but there are some nice little touches that Caleb, Pike, and SmallRig did with this battery to make it just that much better than other batteries. One of it being that it has this rubber texture pad at the bottom. Why would they do that? Well, it's actually so when you set it down in various different places, it's not going to slip and slide around, fall to the ground, and break your battery. So it has some really nice friction on the bottom. If you compare that to any other V-mount battery, you're not going to see that, or at least I haven't seen that. So again, it's these little details that really matter. Additionally, it has this textured side. And again, does it matter? Maybe, maybe not, but I don't know, the quality of this battery is just something that I haven't seen before. And Caleb Pike was nice enough to sign it with his little signature on there. He signs every single one of these batteries by hand. It's actually really awesome that he took the time to do that. That's why he took a break for so long. He was just signing batteries. Now, I won't lie to you guys, this V-mount battery is pretty large, but it also has a ton of power. So it's gonna power this thing all day long. But one of the benefits of having a big, heavy battery on a camera, like especially these small mirrorless cameras with IBIS, is that it's gonna provide a little bit of weight to the image of your footage. That's something that a lot of these cameras don't really have. All your footage ends up looking a little bit floaty and goofy, but there's something to be said about having a heavy camera that makes your image just look a little bit more solid. Now, even with that said, sometimes you still just don't want as heavy of a rig, and that's something I actually said at the beginning of the video. I like my camera to be a little bit more nimble. So if you're not really looking for that heavy footage and you want to use a smaller battery, SmallRig also has this little V99 battery. It's going to be much, much lighter weight. You do lose out on some ports though that this 212 has. You get only 1 D-tap, and then on the top you only have 1 USB-C and 1 USB-A, but you do still get both of the AC ports, which is nice. But again, this is going to be a smaller battery for convenience and keeping your rig more lightweight, whereas this one's gonna be what's gonna power all of your devices all day long, and yeah. Now, one thing to note is that this battery is a bit too large to carry on a plane, whereas this is just under the capacity limit so that you actually can't take it on a plane. So that makes me want them to make another collab with Caleb in this size, the 99 size, so that I can actually carry it on the plane, but still retain all these really nifty features of the 212. Now, SmallRig didn't ask me to talk about this. It's actually in collaboration with Anker as well, but they did send it to me, and honestly, it's pretty neat. I've been just leaving it in my car. It's like this chunky little battery bank, and you have, you know, all the little things. You can actually charge it over solar, which is actually pretty interesting. One other weird or nifty thing about it though is this little top pops up, and then you just click the power button, and it's a lantern. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like this thing's pretty cool for what it is just like a little extra power bank that you can take with you. In fact, I actually had to use this recently because I forgot to charge my gimbal, and I only needed it for a few shots, so I just had to top it off basically. So I plugged my gimbal into this, and it just had just enough power to get me through my shoot. So actually came in clutch pretty recently. So more or less, that's all the components that make up my S5IIX rig as it stands right now, but there are a few things that I would change if I had the parts. Firstly, starting with the side grip. I think the side grip is great, and I like the rosette part, but if I'm being honest, I do really enjoy using either vintage lenses or anamorphic lenses on this setup, so I'd probably swap this out with the DJI Focus Pro grip with the LiDAR autofocus. That thing is truly incredible, but unfortunately, it's sold out at the moment, so I just literally can't get my hands on it. Another thing worth maybe changing is swapping out this Atomos Ninja 5 for something like a Shinobi to save on some money, and then from there, you could also add in the Condor Blue Pro Blade with the media stick built in, and then you could record straight from the S5IIX to the Pro Blade. Those are maybe some changes worth considering, but that's really what I have for right now. Definitely let me know in the comments how you would change my rig, so that if you guys have any ideas, I can hopefully add it to it and just make this rig that much better. Anyways, guys, I hope that you all have a fantastic week, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.